So peace be with you, and welcome to Serviam Deo. And, this is the first episode, or the first kind of, maybe we'll call it a pre-episode. Maybe it's episode 0.1. I don't really know what we're going to call that quite yet, but the point here is we're starting up this podcast as a place for men to come together, especially Catholic men. And the point of the first episode really is to just kind of get something uploaded to tell people what Serviam Deo is. And we'll get into a lot more detail in that in the first real show. That'll be show number 1, not 0.1 like this one. But the whole goal of Serviam Deo is to provide Catholic men a podcast that they can go to that isn't necessarily one that's led by priests, bishops, or others, although we'll certainly have folks like that on the podcast as guests on hopefully a regular basis. And the show will normally be hosted by myself, Michael Rambo, and also by Curtis Richardson, and members of St. Thomas Aquinas Catholic Church in Wichita, Kansas. And this is the men's group for St. Thomas, Serviam Deo, and Serviam Deo translates in Latin as I will serve God. And that's what we think all of us are called to do when it comes to our responsibilities as Catholic men, is to serve God in a lot of different ways, to include, certainly as fathers, as husbands, as brothers, as neighbors, as friends, and as parishioners. And it's important that we have a place that we can relate to one another, and we can confide in one another, and we can talk about things on a lot of different levels. We can talk about scriptural things, we can talk about contemporary things as they apply to the church. We can talk about a lot of different things, and we can really ask some questions and look at them through the lens of what the men of the Catholic faith might be experiencing. The kinds of things that trouble us, the kinds of things we don't understand, the kinds of things we'd like to know more about. And, that's really it's an important part of our Christian faith and of our Catholic faith in particular. And so we decided to start this podcast. Of course, the original idea was, hey, this is just going to be a men's group at a small parish, or actually a pretty good-sized parish in Wichita, Kansas. But that kind of grew a little bit, and we said, what would be great is if those folks that couldn't come into the church and actually couldn't sit down with us and spend a little bit of time face-to-face, if they had a way to join in the conversation, or at least listen to the conversation, and therefore be part of the brotherhood as we talk about manhood and about what it means to be a Catholic man in today's world. So we said, let's do a podcast. And so that's where we are here. We're going to be setting up this podcast and starting the recording of this over the course of the next couple of weeks or so. It's about the middle of June, or towards the later part of June now. And the podcast will kick off in full in the month of July. And then we'll start working into some different topics and covering a lot of ground, having some great people come on and join us and join as guests, and also like I mentioned before, have some co-hosts, and we'll see just exactly where it goes. And we're looking forward to it. This is going to be a fun time. Hopefully it'll be an interesting opportunity, and hopefully over time maybe even other people will be brought back to the faith, or wherever the Holy Spirit leads them. That's what our real hope is here. So we look forward to working with you. We look forward to hearing from you, and we certainly look forward to serving you, as we're all called to serve our God, and to serve in the way of Jesus Christ, making those sacrifices, doing those things we as Catholic men need to do, absolutely need to do, to be able to serve God. So, in Serviam Deo, we'll see you next time on episode 1, and thanks for joining us.